Some of the hardest hit people by Donald Trump's tariffs are soybean farmers. Soybeans are a really, really big deal. 12% of American exports to China are soybeans, according to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. China wanted a ton of soybeans historically, increasingly. So farmers were producing more and more. And there's now a new study which points out that soybean sales to China are down 94% from the United States as a result of Donald Trump's tariffs. And this is a really key point. Trump doesn't even understand that when we put tariffs on Chinese goods, he talks about we're putting tariffs that China is paying for. No, we're not. China doesn't pay those tariffs. We are when we buy stuff from them, which we need to do. Because when we stop getting source materials and components from China, the end products being created by American companies get more expensive. The costs are passed to the consumers. That's one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is that China buys stuff from us, but they've stopped buying soybeans because of the retaliatory tariffs that China has put on the United States responding to Trump's tariffs. So they're going elsewhere for soybeans, and the losers are who? Our farmers, as the corporations that do manufacturing are also increasingly losers under these tariffs. And you might say, well, David, you're cherry picking. Why are you focusing on just soybeans in China? It's anecdotal. Well, China is a top consumer of soybeans by a huge amount. If you look at the list, which we have up on the screen for you, you will see that China is, I mean, it's just not even close by how much China is the top consumer of soybeans. And the United States is, or at least was before these tariffs, one of the biggest exporters of soybeans in the world, behind Brazil. Unclear how Trump's tariffs are going to impact those numbers. And what's the solution that they claim to have come up with in the meantime while the tariffs crush farmers? It's the stuff of comic books almost. The Trump administration says, well, we will subsidize farmers who are getting hit by the tariffs. That's called socialization. They claim to be against that. That was the enemy, but they are simultaneously putting on tariffs that hurt the farmers and then using the government to socialize the soybean farmers or other farmers, depending on which crop we're talking about, in exactly the way they say is really bad. Socialism is bad. The government paying people not to grow is bad. And then on the tail end of it, at some point, I'm hoping that Trump figures out a way to get away from these tariffs. And when he does that, obviously, soybean exports are going to go up. And then what will you hear from Trump? I won. Soybean exports are up. Even if it was 1,000%, it would still only get us back to 2/3 of the previous soybean exports. They don't understand economics. They don't understand math. They don't understand geopolitics. And Pat, they are proud that they don't understand because Trump's going to win again after we've been losing for so long.
Yeah, maybe even Trump will abandon the soy farmers, start calling them soy boys. First thing you do is you go to a socialist policy and then you completely turn on them. I don't think that's going to help his reelection chances in a couple of years.
Well, you got to vote to end this insanity. That's the thing, because we're almost there. I know that I've been saying I'm not talking about 2020 until we get past 2018. We're very close to that. And we're going to start talking about 2020 very soon, partially because, as I mentioned, I've been speaking to some individuals close to some of the top possible Democratic contenders for 2020. The mood seems to be announce early. So we may even have announcements about 2020 sooner than you might imagine. But you got to go and vote today.